Hey everybody, it's your Sam and I'm here with another video. I wanted to continue the foreshadowing series and also give you another little tidbit. You may notice that this is in the place of my live stream this morning, and it's because I'm taking the day off of live streaming because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be emotionally on Thursday. And that's because February 17th was going to be my mom's 77th birthday. As you know, we lost my mom in August, so instead I'm going to be doing this foreshadowing series in its place, and we're going to go over some of mom's favorite flowers. This is going to actually be broken up into 2, possibly 3 parts, because flowers and trees and plants in general have a lot of different meanings that you can take into consideration when writing your scenes. Not only is this going to be useful for foreshadowing, but it can just kind of set the mood and tone that you want for specific scenes. So keep that in mind as well. I know I'm doing this for foreshadowing reasons, but again, you can just use it for just about anything. And you can even use it for character development or a character trying to build a relationship with somebody else, and maybe they speak in the language of flowers and plants. And I want you to keep in mind that different colors of these flowers have different meanings. And I'm probably not going to be able to touch base on a lot of them. So if you have a favorite flower and I don't go over it in these videos, feel free to look it up in the links that I'm going to share down in the description box below. I do have 2 favored links used to look up meanings of flowers and the language of flowers. The reason why I'm separating these 2 is because the language of flowers is different from the meaning of the flower. Granted, they do touch on some of the same aspects, mostly, but the language can be a bit different than the meaning. Alright, so mom's favorite flower was the violet, or one of them. She had a lot of different favorite flowers, but the one that stuck out the most was the violet, and it actually is her birth flower too. The violet does come in 3 different colors, but in nature it's usually like a blue or purple. Sometimes there are white out in nature too. It just really depends on the acidity in the soil. Violets usually mean loyalty, devotion, and faithfulness. Blue is more of the faithfulness meaning. Purple is daydreaming and love between 2 women. And white is modesty. You're going to see a lot of white meaning modesty and innocence and heavenly and all that good stuff. Just so you know, white is always going to be part of that. And the language of flowers kind of erupted around the Victorian era. So the language of the violet is occupied with love. And what you can do with that is, if you're writing a romance, we're going to be talking about romances a lot, I think, you can use the purple violets to signify that one of your characters is kind of overthinking the whole love thing. Or maybe there's a violet around whenever, you know, they go on their second date or they have their second meeting or something, and somebody mutters, "I've been thinking a lot about you," or "I had a dream about you," and that's just weird. And you can have kind of violets around there too. And that's just an idea. Another thing that you can do too is you can follow along with the meaning of the violet. Say somebody is being considered for a companion to your hero. Not a love interest or anything like that, but just a part of the group. You place some violets around that person, and to a knowing reader, they can see that and be like, oh, that dude or that chick or that person is going to be faithful, because blue violets mean faithfulness. Another thing you can do is, again, in like the romance or any genre that you're writing in, and maybe it's a subplot that you're doing with romance or something like that, the person who loves violets, their favorite flower is a violet. That can add to their character growth throughout the book. Maybe before, they were not the most loyal type. They're kind of a rogue, you know, they're fly by the seat of their pants kind of thing, and they don't really get settled down or anything like that. They just do whatever they need to. Maybe while the change is happening in their life, there's some violets around or a violet color, and that can kind of foreshadow that character finally becoming faithful to something, becoming faithful to their faith, becoming faithful to their hometown, or becoming faithful to another person, becoming faithful to their cause, something like that. Or you can take it another step, and this other character over here has some kind of violet around them, preferably a purple one, and they don't really know their heart. They don't know who they're going to fall in love with. And they're struggling, probably inwardly, mostly inwardly, but outwardly too, with feelings that are strange, because they're still strange in our society, which is stupid, but bear with me. And they start daydreaming about the people around them, and they come to find that they are in love with another woman. That character is a woman, and they're in love with another woman. So that purple violet can signify the love that is growing between your two female characters, your two female main characters. And it can just be a subtle hint towards the relationship that's going to come. Iris is the next one, and Iris is actually my favorite flower, because it's just pretty and it smells amazing, and they are really hardy. I mean, I don't know how many irises I've accidentally dug up because, you know, I was trying to get at the weeds, and I kind of replanted them and they still survived. So yeah, irises are pretty hardy, but their meanings are wisdom and respect and royalty. Now, the language of the iris is I send a message. So if you received an iris or a drawing of an iris or something like that, then you know that there's kind of like a hidden message either within the letter or within whatever came with the iris, or you knew that you needed to be on the lookout for another message. Sometimes this can help with people who are kind of under house arrest, and that their mail is being gone through by a guardian or a parent or a jealous wife or a husband or something like that. They would probably think nothing of the person receiving a little card with an iris on it, and not really anything written in it, just maybe a signature. And that person would know that there's been an important message that whoever kind of stole, and they need to be on the search for it. Now, irises do also come in fairly a large amount of shades. There's even striped ones, there's even dual colors and all that good stuff. With like the hybrids and stuff, you can kind of take the colors and the color meanings and kind of put them on the irises too. But irises usually mean royalty, wisdom, and respect, especially the wisdom and respect thing. Yellow irises are tied with passion. White irises are again purity and stuff like that. I'm just probably going to stop talking about white. Blue irises are mostly tied to the faithfulness, and purple is tied mostly to the wisdom aspect of the meaning of iris. So say you have a wise old sage in your book, and maybe they have a bunch of purple irises growing around their little hovel. Again, with the whole faithfulness thing that I mentioned before with the violet, you can have that. You can show the growth of the character without telling the reader that the character is going to grow into a faithful person. Another thing is with irises in like the background or something like that, you can foreshadow one of your characters possibly coming into a crown or into a royal position. Lavender is another one. Mom and I both liked the scent of lavender. It was very calming. And lavender is devotion, calming. In the language of flowers, lavender is mostly distrust. So a message that you can do with lavender is some kind of snide little distrust thing. Maybe you're sending your characters are sending little cards back and forth with flowers on them, especially if it's set back in the Victorian age. And one is trying to get the trust of the other, become a really good friend, learn some secrets or something like that, and maybe the person that they're trying to learn the secrets from sends them a lavender, and it's like, dude, I don't trust you, back off, or something like that. Now, lavender can also mean devotion. Maybe one person thinks that it means, hey, I am devoted to you, I'm here for you, we're going to be here together forever. And the person who receives it is like, wow, I really don't trust them, or they really don't trust me. That can be kind of like a setting up for a rift between the two characters. The foreshadowing aspect of lavender can be like a calm before the storm, or that there's going to be a calm after the storm. Maybe somewhere in the climax of your book, or the character's darkest moment, maybe there's some lavender or a lavender scent, and that's kind of a hint that everything's going to be okay, everything is going to turn back to normal, everything is going to calm down eventually. Or it can even mean that whatever character shows up, kind of like a knight in shining armor, that person is actually going to be fully devoted to the character now, or to the cause, or whatever you are writing about. Another one is the hyacinth, and hyacinths are really beautiful, and the language of the hyacinth is your loveliness charms me. So you can already see where this is going to go in like a romance novel or something like that. It can also be some kind of rogue trying to flirt in the language of flowers. Hyacinths also come in several different colors. Purple can mean a please forgive me. Blue is constancy. The red and pink means playfulness. White is loveliness, which is a kind of a little bit of a change from the whole innocence spectrum. And a yellow hyacinth means jealousy. I have read a comic on Webtoons called Purple Hyacinth, and the meaning that the author put behind that is kind of different than the actual meaning and language of the flower, but it makes sense because it's purple, and hyacinths can resemble kind of a spear type or a blade. And in this webtoon, purple hyacinths are used by an assassin, and the purple hyacinth is the symbol of the royal family in this webtoon as well. So it kind of has a double-edged meaning, which is also tied into the assassin that uses them too. I highly recommend it. Purple Hyacinth on Webtoons. Beautiful artwork, beautiful story. You need to go read it, and then you can kind of get the meaning of the hyacinth behind that. With that being said, I'm going to put in a little caveat here. You don't have to put these flowers with the actual meanings. You don't have to put the flowers with the actual language that was built in the Victorian era and so on and so forth. You can make your own, and it's okay. The last one that I'm going to leave you with now is the daffodil. I also call it jonquil. The meaning behind those are new beginnings, and it's also the language behind the daffodil jonquil. These flowers usually spring up right at the beginning of spring, and therefore they're really sunny, they're really joyful looking. The new beginnings meaning. With that being said, you can always put daffodils and jonquils around the turning point, the break into Act 2, or maybe there's a death and there's jonquils around in the graveyard, or wherever, the visitation, the wake, something like that. And that just poses that there's going to be a new beginning for, say, the widow, the kids, whoever happens to be there at the funeral or whatever it is. Or it can even mean for your new adult kind of thing. There's graduation, there's daffodils all around, and that's a new beginning into their adulthood. That's just a few of the flowers I want to cover. Like I said, there's going to be probably 3 or 4 videos here on flowers, and those are Mom's favored flowers. There's going to be a few more in the next video, but I do hope that you enjoy this, and I hope you got a little bit of information out of it that you haven't had before, and you got some new ideas. I'm hopefully inspiring you with some of these little tidbits in these foreshadowing videos, because that's what I'm here for. So yeah, sorry no live stream, but hey, you get this video instead. And now you know the reason why there isn't a live stream too. Take care of one another out there. Be kind. Stay safe. Keep writing. And keep being creative. And I will see you next time.